Hello and welcome. My name is Pam Bartha. I am the author of Become a Wellness Champion and the founder of Live Disease Free. And this is my very first week of doing Facebook Live, and it is so much fun. I just love it. Thank you guys for being so interactive with me over the last few days. And what I'm doing is taking you through a process to really show you that yes, you can take your health back and your life back. It is completely possible. So I'd like to kind of recap what we've done since the beginning of the week and where we're going. So on Monday, I shared my story about how I have been able to beat multiple sclerosis for the past 26 years. Great, Jessica, you can hear me. Awesome. Hi, Lisa. So I shared my story, and it's an amazing miracle story. But the cool thing is that there are so many people that are doing this now, and the information that I'm sharing with you has been known for 30 years. So it's so important that it gets out. The cool thing is there's so much science backing up everything that I'm sharing now. And back then we didn't have the science, we didn't have the research. So the first thing was my story. The second day, on Tuesday, I told you what the real cause of multiple sclerosis is and also all other types of chronic disease. It is infection. Yes, it is infection, and there's tons and tons of proof. So this is not just for multiple sclerosis. This is for all autoimmune and also for cancer, heart disease, etc. And if you really want to find this information, it's actually pretty easy to find. If you just go on Google, and I shared this in my replay. I did a master class on Wednesday a week ago. We had 2,100 people register for that master class. And I shared so much of this information, and I shared how to do research, how to do your own research so that you can see it's true. So go to that replay because I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to kind of stay focused. So on that replay, I tell you how to do your own research, and also for MS, for cancer, whatever. And you'll see that there are hundreds and hundreds of studies that show a link between chronic disease and infection, especially starting in the gut. So that was Tuesday. And then yesterday, we talked about how important it is to have the mindset of a wellness champion. And this, honestly, because I've been coaching people for 16 years, this is the make it or break it for people. This is the biggest hurdle people have to get over. It's not if they can afford it. It's not, whatever, as far as obstacles, physical obstacles, it is their mindset. It's like, do they believe that they can do it? Do they believe they can find a way? Do they believe they can change their old habits? That is, and also to implement what I teach. So that is huge. So we have all of these videos all together on a playlist in Facebook Live we've got the web links. We'll have that in the post, but make sure you go back, or actually you can go down through the feed and you'll see them also. So that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today it is the 4 pillars of wellness. And in my 26-year journey now, that's how long it's been since I've been symptom-free and MS-free. But in my 26 years of my health journey, and also, thank you so much, in coaching hundreds of other people for the last 16 years, everything that you need in wellness falls in those 4 pillars, except for the mindset. That's another piece. But everything that we need to do for health falls in those 4 pillars. And I'd like to share those with you today. And I can only touch on them. But what I'm going to do is I have all of that information in the replay. So please watch my masterclass replay. The link is posted. It'll be in the timeline of all the comments here. It'll also be in the description at the very top. And listen to that because I have more time and I go into a lot more detail. It is life-changing information. So the first pillar of wellness, it is to maximize nutrition. So this is the foundation of where we start. It's very, very important that we give our body the right fuel. And many of us have nutritional deficiencies for various reasons. Number one, our food is not the same as it was 50 years ago. And I teach people about that. We're seeing a huge decline in nutrition because a lot of the food that we have access to, the fruits and vegetables, they come from big farms, and we're seeing up to a 40% decline in nutrition. So that's one factor why we're nutritionally deficient. Secondly, a lot of us are eating processed foods. We're having shakes and we're having bars. The nutrition in those foods, well, I call them food-like substances. They are not from plants. They are made synthetically in a lab. So they cannot substitute real food. So our food is not the same. We're eating too many processed types of foods. Also, because when we suffer with chronic disease, and also when we have this dysbiosis and silent infection, so the bugs in our gut are out of balance, we have inflammation caused by the infections. And that inflammation causes us to not digest our food properly, and we don't absorb our nutrition. And also those bugs, they are freeloaders. They're like parasites, and they rob nutrients from us. So we can become deficient. One nutrient that a lot of us are deficient in is iron. And that is very, very characteristic when we have certain types of infections in our body. And B12 is another one. So there are lots of reasons why we become deficient, but we want to first clean that up, because that makes our body stronger. We heal faster, we detox less, which is really important. But also with the eating plan, because there's so many eating plans out there, and so many of us are thinking, well, I'm eating healthy. There's many versions of healthy eating. But what we're doing is we're eating in a way that feeds the body, but yet weakens the enemy. We cannot totally starve the enemy, but the infections, the bad bugs, but we're eating in a way that we promote the good bugs, we feed the good bugs, we feed our body with nutrition, but we are discouraging those bad bugs. We're weakening them, because we have to set the stage to weaken them, to change our environment. Otherwise, they're too hard to treat. They're so happy, they're so well established. So we have to do that. And so this is the work that we do. So that is the key, is that we pick the eating plan that feeds the body and weakens the enemy. So that's why, and we follow the nutritional ketogenic eating plan, which is quite low in carbs. Those are the starchy carbs. We're very, very high in vegetables. So there's a lot of fiber, which feeds the good microbes, and it's very nutrient dense, but we are not feeding the bad microbes, because they love the corn and the potatoes and anything that sticks to your ribs, that type of a starch. It's not that those vegetables are bad. It's just that when we're sick and we're out of balance, we have to kind of knock back the bad microbes, and this is something that really helps us. And what you're going to see, because I'm giving you some really cutting edge information here, you're going to see that this nutritional ketogenic eating plan is going to be far more popular than the paleo in the next few years, because people feel so good on it. And I'm not talking about people that have MS or Parkinson's or cancer. Even just healthy people feel better on it, or eating close to that, because all of us are out of balance with our microbes, because we have 4 to 5 generations of antibiotic overuse. So that is covering the first topic, or the first pillar, which is maximizing nutrition. It is so important, because that is what really helps us to heal quicker. And as I mentioned, we detox less when we're killing the infections off, and we do not like detoxing. So that's a really important thing. So the second pillar is to minimize silent infections. I think it was Tuesday, I taught you about the cause of chronic disease, and that is silent infections and dysbiosis. So now when we're talking about minimizing these silent infections, what I'm going to share with you right now is how important it is when you have chronic illness, you have to work with somebody who has experience, because many of you are on medications. First of all, your bodies are weak because of all the toxicity and the inflammation. Your immune system is overwhelmed with infection. So if you start to experiment with this on your own, and maybe you start to buy different herbs and you're trying to kill the enemy by yourself, you can run into problems. Number one, you can have interactions with your pharmaceuticals. Number two, you don't know which products are good, which ones are helpful. There's not enough regulation out there as far as what you're buying on Amazon or in the health food stores. So you want to make sure you're spending your money on things that work. But number three is, if you take too much, you can be flatlined on the couch. You get a Herxheimer's, a die-off reaction, and it is not fun. And it's really important that people don't push through that, because you can actually hurt yourself. And then there's the other risk of maybe you're not taking enough. Maybe you're just like experimenting, and you're like, well, I've heard that this helps to kill bad bugs, candida, etc. And you're just taking certain products, but you don't know if you're taking enough. And if you're not taking enough, these bugs become so resistant so easily. So it's really important to know that you're taking the right amount, you're not letting them become resistant, because if they become resistant, you can't use them in the future, right? And that they're well known, especially fungi. So it's so important to make sure that, especially when you're sick, you're working with somebody that has experience. And one little tidbit I'd like to give you for that, because I've worked with so many different integrative healthcare professionals. And this is why I feel you have to learn this information yourself. You have to become your own health advocate. You can still work with them, but you work together in a partnership relationship. So the thing that you have to do is, when you're looking for that integrative healthcare professional, you have to look at their track record. You have to see, do they have people, or if you're working with a health coach like what we do, we have people that go on record and say, I have been symptom-free for several years. I've been off my medications for several years. So those kind of people that if you work with them, you know that they understand that what you're dealing with is infection, and they're going to be targeting the right area, and they're going to be helping you in the right way. So that's really important. If you've been working with somebody for over 6 months, and you're still suffering with your disease, I don't think that's the right person. Because in my program, in 2 to 3 months, some people with MS, which is a brutally debilitating disease, they're symptom free. Not everybody, but a few are. And some, it takes a few more, it takes 4 to 6 months, but it shouldn't take years. And if you are working with integrative healthcare professionals, as one student that just registered just this last week into our program, she's been 3.5 years working with integrative healthcare professionals, and it's cost her thousands of dollars, and she still has her disease. So the cool thing is she's going to be able to nip that in the bud pretty quickly here now, which is awesome, as long as she does the work. That's the clincher for all of us. We have to do the work. So that is pillar number 2, is to minimize silent infections. And this is the missing link. I promise you, first of all, what we do in the program is we set the stage. So we make sure we weaken the infection first. Then we clean up the environmental toxins. We bring in plant source nutritional supplements. And when we do all of those things, then we start to target the infection, because we have to set the stage for success. Then when you find the right blend, because we don't have a lot of good tests yet, that's going to come in a few years, but right now we don't. So when you find the right therapies, and we know which therapies are working, and we have a step-by-step plan, you start to notice week by week symptoms starting to fade, starting to peel away. And that just means the infection is being knocked down. And the last thing I want to say about the silent infections is, remember that it's not about treating one pill for one disease. We will never, ever have that. Thank you for all the hearts. It's true, because the deal is, it's not one bug that's out of balance. By the time we have chronic disease, it's called dysbiosis. And I talk about that in my replay of my masterclass that you guys need to listen to. So dysbiosis means you have too many bad microbes, you have not enough good microbes. So we have lost the diversity of the good microbes. And when we lose diversity and we lose the population of them, then we end up having this dysbiosis, and we have too many bad and not enough good. So you may have 2 or 3 or 4 bugs that are out of balance, and you have to knock them back. They can be parasites, they can be bad bacteria. There's many types of fungi, not just Candida albicans. So this is the trick, and this is why it's so important to work with somebody, because most people don't figure this out themselves. It's confusing. It's I've been doing this for 26 years, so I know it's been lots and lots of trial and error for me. So pillar number 3 is, I'm just going to switch my page here. So pillar number 3 is to minimize your toxin load. And what we notice is that we're living in a time right now where we have so many unknown environmental toxins that affect our health in profound ways. And they really prevent us from healing. And I see this in coaching all the time. So when we have these infections, when we have this dysbiosis and silent infections in our gut and different parts of our body, we are very sensitive to the environment. We're very sensitive to chemicals. We're sensitive to all the radiation. And actually, I'm going to share, just because we only have so much time, I'm going to share with you that the radiation, the ambient radiation in our air, and this is from wireless devices, but also the electric and magnetic fields. I'll make it simple. It's the RF radiation, the EMF radiation, and also the dirty electricity. How many of you have heard about this and that it's not good for your health? Make sure you let me know in the chat box. So with this type of radiation, all this radiation that's around us, it's not good for any of us. But for those of us that are really out of balance with our microbes, it can make, as I said, those infections grow up to 600 times faster. So we have to clean up our environment, and that helps us to heal quicker, but it also helps us to age slower. Everything that I teach in this program helps us to age slower. And we like that. Like for me, it's about quality of life. Once you've been sick, right, you don't ever want to go back there again. And to just let you know, I'll cover that in a minute when we get to that. So the environmental toxins, cleaning them up and becoming aware of them. And it's not just for us, but it's for our families, for our children, because our children's brains have a lot more water in them. And so they're affected by this radiation a lot more, and also by other chemicals, etc. Their bodies are growing so quickly. So this is stuff that it helps us to get well, but it also impacts all the people around us. And as wellness champions, we love to pay this information forward and change the lives of the people that we love. So that is pillar number 3, and that is to minimize our toxic load. Pillar number 4 is to build a healthy lifestyle. So how many of you have been eating healthy already and you've been exercising, but you're still suffering with disease? That you need to go back to pillar number 2. That's treating the infection. So we know that we need to be active, and we need to have sleep, and we need to filter our water and balance our life and nurture our soul. All of those things are important, and we sort of know them already, but we do build them in our plan in the program. But the focus of our time together in the program that we have in the Live Disease Free Academy is we focus most of our time on treating those infections, because it takes work and it takes time. And that's why you can't do it overnight. But the cool thing is that we have been doing this for so long, so we know like how important it is to set the stage, how important it is the eating plan, how important it is to, get rid of or correct nutritional deficiencies, etc. Because that fast tracks us. We're interested in getting healthy as quickly as possible and stopping the MS, stopping whatever chronic disease you have as quickly as possible. And so that has to be done with an integrative approach. So the real strength of the program, that the Live Disease Free Academy, and also in you getting well, is you have to learn how to manage your microbes, because that's something you don't know how to do yet, unless you're a wellness champion, because I do have some wellness champions on here. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Please let me know, because it says Flash Player is not working here. I don't see that at all anywhere else, so hopefully you guys are all with me. So one thing I wanted to mention too about the environmental toxins, Dr. Magda Havas has some wonderful videos on YouTube, Magda Havas. And she shares, what I find is that when you can see things, it's a lot more impactful. So she shares at a certain point in one of her videos how she went into the home, and I know her personally because I've been to her workshops. She's amazing. And she shared one lady who has MS, and she has terrible tremors, like her arms would just move up and down terribly. And thank you so much, Tori, you can hear awesome. And what they did is they cleaned her home. They got rid of all the RF radiation or reduced it to very low levels. So that's the RF radiation is all the wireless radiation. It's from your laptop, from your router, from your cordless phones, from your cell phone, from the smart meter outside of your home, from cell towers outside of your home. So they got that down. They also decreased all of the dirty electricity coming from our plugs and from our lights and from fluorescent lighting, etc. They also got rid of all the EMF radiation. And just by doing that, her tremors were decreased at least 3/4. And you can see that on the video. And there was another gentleman that walked, he has MS, and he walked like he was drunk. And when they cleaned up all of the radiation in his home, just doing that alone, not diet, nothing else, he walked a straight line. And he was kind of skeptical about that. And he ended up going shopping with his dad into a mall. And because of all of the radiation and all the fluorescent lighting, he ended up staggering again. So it is profound. Like when we're coaching people, Lisa and myself, we see what a big difference this makes. And so it really helps us to like troubleshoot, help people to get better quicker. And it's vital for getting better. And for those of us that are not sick yet, because I know some of you that are on this call right now or on the Facebook Live, you're not sick. It's so important to put this into practice. So what I would like to know is, first of all, how many of you over, that was on Tuesday or today, this was the very first time you've ever heard that MS is caused by infection or chronic disease is caused by infection? Let me know, because it's amazing to me that people still don't know that, but most people don't know that. So building a healthy lifestyle is pillar number 4. So as wellness champions, thumbs up, awesome. So as wellness champions, what we do is we take charge of our health. And this is what we teach people how to do. We teach them how to read the results of their blood work and how to pay attention and to monitor their blood work to make sure things don't go out of balance. So a lot of times when we get blood work done, there's a big range and it's very broad. And if our results fall within that range, our doctor doesn't notify us. It's only when our results fall out of that range that we're notified. But you know, if we actually knew that we were getting out of range and we actually brought it back into the right range, then you heal quicker and you will stay healthy longer. So now that's important. We teach people how to read labels so that you're not wasting money on nutritional supplements that are made out of synthetic sources. So between this eating plan and plant source supplements, we are helping people to correct deficiencies right away so that they can start dealing with the infections quicker. And they, like I said, they'll detox less, which is so awesome. Because if you're missing nutrients, your detox pathways are blocked and you feel terrible. So that's why we have to minimize that as much as we can. And so the wellness champions, they know how to manage their microbes. They know how to get the bad ones down and get the good ones up. And then once they're better, they know how to take care of themselves. They know how to pay attention to the little symptoms that start to come up. They do, because as I mentioned before, from the moment we're born until the moment we die, the world of microbes is trying to take us out. So they're actually living on us and they're trying to recycle us before we're ready. And so the key is that we want to make sure we keep the bad down and the good up. If you and I would have known these principles years ago, we would not be on this Facebook Live chat today, because I would have paid, like, I knew I had constipation, I had stomach issues, and if I would have dealt with that, I never would have come down with MS. And the same goes for you. So the cool thing is you learn this and then you pay attention, and it's like, you know, I've been symptom-free for a long time, but I'm noticing that I'm not sleeping quite as well, or maybe I have a little bit more gas or a little bit of constipation. Maybe my mood is a little off. So a little bit of these little warning, these are the minimal warning signs that for those of you that don't have chronic disease, or maybe I get the flu more often, maybe feeling tired, you know, even if you've had a good night's sleep, that's when you need to start correcting your microbiome, not when you have cancer, MS, Parkinson's, etc. So this is a really powerful statement. So if the difference between the people that are 85 years old and they are still driving, they can ski, they're chasing their great grandkids, their mind is as sharp as a whip, the difference between those people, they're a little pruned up or wrinkly for sure, but the difference between those people and the people that are living in the extended care homes, and my heart goes out to you if you're in that situation right now, but the difference between them is their microbiome. It's the microbes that are living inside of them. And that's the big difference. And obviously nutrition too. So it's the toxicity from the infections, the inflammation, and also nutritional deficiencies. And those bugs cause a lot of that too. And so many of us that are coming down with chronic disease, we're kind of heading towards that disability and the extended care homes, whereas we want to turn around and we want to go back in the other direction. And if you are in an extended care home, you still can do so much to stop the disease and get a lot of recovery and get your life back. But it's really, really up to you. And so with Wellness Champions, we know how important it is to build back our natural defense, build back all those good microbes, those life-promoting microbes. This is the most heavily researched field of science today. And it's saved my life. It is saving Wellness Champions' lives. We are going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I just want to take a moment to congratulate Steve, because I just saw a comment from Steve saying he is joining us in the program, which is so cool. So please type in your, yes, Dr. Magda Havas. Thank you so much. I think Jessica stuck that in. So please type in your questions. I'm going to answer your questions. And I also want to mention to you that if you are ready, if you're like at the point where like, oh, Pam, I want my life back. I'm ready to do whatever it takes. I want to be a wellness champion. I want to be like Lisa, like Terry Kiley. Just a heads up, tomorrow, my last Facebook Live event, I'm going to be showcasing a bunch of case studies of these wonderful wellness champions and sharing their amazing successes and answering your questions. So I'm going to leave it up open for you. But if you're like, I want to be one of them, I want to start 2017 with a brand new lease on life. I want to take my life back. I want to start living my life. I'm not living my life. This is too risky to stay here. And if you are brand new, like if you've just been newly diagnosed in the last year, you have no idea how much easier it is to reverse it now, to nip it in the bud. The students in my program that have had it more recently, like 2 to 3 months, they can nip it in the bud. They're off their meds and they're back living their life. And I'll be sharing lots of those stories, and do it as soon as you can. The sooner you recover, the more recovery you have, the more function you gain back. The longer you wait, the more it turns into the permanent scar tissue of the myelin sheath. And I can't promise what type of recovery. I can't promise full mobility back. So it's really important that you, if you're ready, I know some of you are saying, I'm ready. And yes, MS is a complete nightmare. It is a complete nightmare. And that's why I've dedicated my life to helping others stop MS too, because I know I've been there, and I'm so grateful for this second chance. And the cool thing is, once you get your second chance, you are going to touch everyone. One last thing I want to say about this whole learning all of this is that what I'm seeing, what has happened in my family and happening with the wellness champions, it not only gives you your life back, it also helps you to make sure to protect the health of your partner or your spouse, because you don't want to be healthy and then your spouse gets sick. Because most of my students are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and we're finishing off our work, and then we want to retire and we want to enjoy our grandkids and we want to travel a bit. So we both want to be healthy. And then we want to enjoy it, just be running after our grandkids. We already have one and we have another one on the way, and we're so excited. We can't wait. January is the time for our second grandbaby to be here. So the last thing too is that this wisdom that you learn that saves your life, that gives you this amazing life, you and your partner, you pass it on to your children and your grandchildren, and you break the vicious cycle of chronic disease in your families. I can't tell you how important that is, because we're not going to be perfect. Our kids aren't going to be perfect, and our grandchildren aren't going to be perfect. But the neat thing is, when you know what it takes, when you know where that line is, then sometimes we start getting symptoms a little bit like, oh, I'm feeling more tired, my stomach's not as well. You know what to do. It's not a mystery, and you don't have to hit the brick wall again, and your family doesn't. And it's, to me, it's the biggest gift I can give my family other than our faith. So that is so important to me, and I really hope that it touches your family for generations. So if you are a wellness champion inside, just busting to get out, make sure you do these steps. Number one, you watch my replay, and that is the links are going to be in the description. They're in the feed. I know Jessica's putting it in the feed. So watch the replay of my masterclass that I did last Wednesday. And you can register immediately. If you go there and you look through it all and you go, oh my gosh, this Live Disease Free Academy is exactly what I need, then register and you get immediate access. You can start right away. And I know there are some students on this Facebook Live right now that are in the class. And so go ahead and start right away if you're ready. If you still have a few questions, if it's like, oh, Pam, this sounds so good, but I just have some burning questions, because this is a big commitment. You are going to work with us, with myself and Lisa. And if you have burning questions, join us on Saturday for a live coach-a-thon. I'm going to be just sharing, no slides. I'm not teaching. It's like sharing from the heart, just you and me. And I will be asking your biggest questions, your most burning questions. All right. So please join us on Saturday if you have any questions. There we go. It's in the feed of the Facebook Live right now. Thank you so much, Jessica. And just one last thing, just want to make sure. And congratulations, Steve. I'm so excited. We are very, very excited to have you on board. And as a wellness champion, you are going to absolutely love the community of wellness champions. They are going to be your biggest heroes and fans. So I just want to make sure I've covered everything. I'm going to go to your questions right now. So hopefully I will see your questions. With technology, things aren't always the way they're supposed to be. Okay, I don't see it there. Worst case scenario, I will answer your questions. Yes, there it is. 43 comments. I don't know if I'll be able to answer all of those. All right. Okay, but it's not bringing them all up. Okay, so I don't see them. So go ahead. So Adele, if you're wondering about the program, just go and watch that, the masterclass. All the information is there. And also you can find, if you just, like I would personally watch the masterclass first, because I talk about all the steps that we do in the program. You need to know that before you even decide to join us or not, because you need to see what we're doing. And you need to understand how important it is to get all this support. You're going to get a huge amount of support twice a week, live calls with a healthcare professional who beat MS in 2 months. And she is a huge wellness champion. So it's cool. How do I feel about the flu shots? So this is something that I am not a healthcare professional and I cannot give medical advice. I personally would, this is my personal opinion, I would never ever do the flu shot. I have spent a lot of time doing research on vaccinations and on the flu shot, like lots. And I put together some training videos for my students in this Live Disease Free Academy. And I never tell people what to do. It's a personal decision. But when you start to research it and you start to see that they're quite ineffective and all of the things that are in the flu shot, you'll be able to make up your own mind. Personally, I would never take the flu shot. I don't need the flu shot, right? Because I don't get sick, I don't get the flu. And I should have not said that because I might now, but I haven't had it for years. So the neat thing is when you learn all these principles, you're hardly ever going to have to see your doctor again. And it's a good thing. Your doctor will be happy. They're happy when you come off your medications if you're symptom free. They're happy when you're healthy and you don't have to keep going in. And so my son, who is now 20 years old, he's never been on antibiotics before. I haven't been on antibiotics since I was like 17, 16, and I was on tetracycline. So the cool thing is when you learn these principles, it is anti-aging. It gives you years and years. Like for me, it's already been 26 years of amazing life that I would not have had if I didn't know this. And for those of us that are not even sick, but if we learn it and apply it, it can add 10 to 20 to 30 years of quality life to your life. How do I avoid shingles, Cindy? So what you do is you just do all the steps that we're talking about, because a lot of these different infections, whether they're viral or whether they're bacterial, it's all stemming because you have your microbiome, the microbes in your gut are completely out of balance. Your immune system is overwhelmed. So that's when we end up getting these different infections, especially the viral. The viral infections I find are more secondary infections. So if you build up the good microbes, you get the bad ones down, you correct nutritional deficiencies, you clean up your environment, you don't get the viruses. You don't get a lot of these different things. You're not going to pick up all the parasites that other people do also. So that is key. So, oh, Nicole, no yeast on your tongue, good sign. So Nicole knows that people that have a lot of candida, they have thrush, so they'll have a white tongue. So good job, Nicole, you're awesome. And just be aware that it's not always Candida albicans that's the problem. One of my students has, like a lot of students have cancer with MS or diabetes or many different types of conditions with MS. So there's many different fungi that cause disease. So aspergillus is another one. And one of my students may have aspergillus. We don't really have good tests. We don't have doctors, they're not on board with this, but the research shows that this is the case. And so the neat thing is we go by what the research says, we go by what effective therapies. They have a lot of support and supervision and accountability, and that's why people get better so quickly. So Martha, I'm hoping maybe the replay will work. Yes, it will work. Sorry if it's not working for you on your phone right now. How do I feel about digestive enzymes? When you have severe gut dysbiosis, it can be really helpful to take plant enzymes to help you digest your food because you're not releasing a lot of the enzymes that you should be. And you'll find you won't need them as much later on. So yes, it's totally fine to take a plant source, broad spectrum enzyme with your food to help you digest your food. So what are my views on alkalizing with sodium bicarbonate? This is something that would have to be really, really supervised. I have talked to people that have done this on their own and they're just drinking sodium bicarbonate and they start to retain a lot of water and they don't feel well. So I personally have never done that. I don't think you need to do that. There is one wonderful doctor, oncologist, Dr. Simoncini from Italy, and he is flushing tumors with 5% sodium bicarbonate. So that is like a supervised procedure, but they're dissolving tumors. So what we do is we just directly treat the infection with different antimicrobials. Some people use herbs, herb blends. Some people have to use pharmaceuticals if they're in the danger zone with cancer. They need to hit the infection more aggressively. But the key is that that kind of a thing I don't recommend because it causes too many different upsets with the body. So that's something that we do not use. So Jessica is just saying, Martha, please try refreshing your browser and you may find that your phone works again. Because I know that Facebook's been doing a lot of different updates in this last week. So I had audio problems yesterday and we've had all kinds of little issues, but we're here today. So I think that I have covered most of the questions here. If I didn't answer your question, I will answer it in the news feed or in the feed of the Facebook Live chat that we're having here today. So I really want to thank you so much for joining me today. Please watch the replays. I've covered some amazing ground with you. Thank you so much for engaging with me. Tomorrow, the topic is the Wellness Champions, Meet the Wellness Champions. I'm not going to be able to share pictures, but I do have pictures of them. We actually have a page. I'll be sharing that page with you. You can actually listen to them talk. You can listen to their, hi Cam, he's a wellness champion. So you can actually listen to their stories and their successes and it will put tears in your eyes. I love these people. You have no idea if you're ready and you decide to join us. The Wellness Champions are helping us to change history because what's happening is we have 3 different things going on. We have this whole world of science coming out, validating all of this about infections causing all the chronic disease. Then we have more and more hero doctors that are coming on board that are saying that chronic disease is caused by infection. Then we have this army of wellness champions that we're building, all these people that are just, they're going against all odds. They're taking charge of their life. They're taking their health back. They are my heroes. It doesn't matter if they don't have enough support at home, if their doctor isn't on board with them, they're doing it and they're getting their life back. And their stories, their successes is what is going to change history because sure, science is great, but does it work? And when we see the wellness champions getting their life back, it's not just me, it's not just Dr. Terry Wall and Dr. Ann Baroque and many other people. It is an army of people getting our life back. And so that is what's going to tip this whole thing and help us to bring change so much quicker. So join us tomorrow for the last one, the last Facebook Live, which is going to be the Wellness Champions and Q&A. And if you are a wellness champion and you know it in your heart and you're just like, I want to be a hero, I want to help bring change, I want to take my life back, I want to help other people, I want to get back to living, I want to go back to work, I want to play with my grandkids, I want to go for walks again, whatever it is, make sure you watch my replay right away, not next week, because next week my class is closed. We are starting. We are getting all the students settled in and our first Q&A is on Tuesday. As soon as you register, you can start immediately, like a couple of minutes after you register. You'll get the login information. You can start taking your life back. Those are the steps. Watch the replay, register if you're ready. Join us on the Coach-a-thon. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I love all of your interactions, and I love sharing this information because I know it's going to change your life. Take care and bye-bye for now.